December 2nd, 1983, the greatest music video ever came out. And that was Michael Jackson's Thriller. A video that his record company didn't want to put out. Thriller as an album was already out. It had hits like Billie Jean and Beat It and Want to Be Starting Something. And PYT was the sixth single. PYT was the sixth single. And Michael Jackson saw American Werewolf in London. The Thriller song was already there. He saw American Werewolf in London, directed by John Landis, and Michael had an idea of making like a short film horror flick. And the record company was like, nah, we ain't doing that. We're already six singles deep. And they only made two videos. The first, the Girl's Mind was the first song, but they only had two videos, Billie Jean and Beat It. So they were successful without making videos. And Michael's like, no, I need to make this epic video. And they said no. So what Michael did was he negotiated, once John Landis came aboard as director, Michael negotiated a deal to do the making of Thriller. They sold the rights to like Showtime, and he took that money to fund Thriller. Michael Jackson does not get enough credit for his business mind. We'll come back to that later. So I remember that day when Thriller came out. You were in school, and that's the only thing the kids were talking about. And we kept on looking at the clock because I think MTV started playing that video. It was a 14-minute video. I think they started playing it like every hour, either every 15 minutes or every hour, so something like that. They might have played it like every 15 minutes. And you're in class and you look at the clock. It's, hey, what time is it? 12:02. Damn it! Time ticks so slow. And when that bell rang, everybody ran home. And because there was so much anticipation. And then when you saw the video, this is not going to see Joker 2, where you feel like you're so high, where you just, oh my God, I can't wait for this. And then it comes out, it's like, oh. You see Thriller, and it's just like the most amazing video you ever seen in your life. There was like 3 or 4 videos in one. You had the beginning part, which was like in the 1950s, where Mike is wearing the Letterman's jacket, and Ola Ray was wearing the poodle skirt, and he's like, I'm not like other guys. And you have that, and then him and Ola are in the movie theater, and then they start walking, and he's singing, and then you have the whole choreography part of it, where he turns to the zombie, and they break out of it, and then he comes, and then at the end, he says, what's wrong? And he turns around the eyes. Oh, that was, you couldn't stop seeing this over and over again. And this is the time where you didn't have your phones. You couldn't just jump on YouTube to watch this. And this is the time when most people, there was no VCRs yet. So you had to watch this video on MTV over and over and over again. And the most hurtful thing that ever happened is that when the Jehovah's Witnesses went after Mike and said that this is the devil, and he took it down because he's a Jehovah's Witness, and we didn't see that video for like 20 some odd years. I remember there was a video show in Akron, and it hosted by a guy named Billy Soul. Shout out to Billy Soul. I called one time. I said, hey, Billy, can I see Michael Jackson's Thriller? And he's like, hey, man, I'm sorry. Due to Michael's religious beliefs, we can't show the video. Religious beliefs? That's the greatest video ever made. Even today, when you go on TikTok, well, it happens every year when people across the world does the Thriller dance. But when you go on TikTok, they're either doing the Thriller dance, Smooth Criminal, or the top one, Rock My World. Rock My World is, there's so many people doing the Rock My World dance, which is crazy because I think that song's more beloved now than it was when it first came out. But the thing about the Thriller dance, which is amazing, is choreographed by the great Michael Peters. Michael Peters also choreographed Beat It for Michael Jackson. I wish they made more videos with each other because they were an amazing team. Michael Peters was great, man. Michael Peters came from the Alvin Ailey School of Dance, which is an amazing institution. And when you watch Thriller, he combines Alvin Ailey with Bob Fosse, with what Michael Jackson is doing as a dancer at that point, and he got pop locking in it as well. But yeah, Alvin Ailey, Bob Fosse, and Michael Jackson. So what you get is a very smooth, jazzy, urban dance. And this is why it's so simple for people to do these moves. Like Beat It was the same way. Like when you're a kid and that Beat It video came on, you were trying to copy Michael Jackson. When the Thriller video came out, you were trying to copy those moves, but they were easy to do because those moves were smooth. They were smooth moves. It's not like when the Backstreet Boys in the scene came out. Now you got all this Jerry dancing and all that stuff where everybody's kind of like fidgety. It's smooth, man. It's classic. It's Alvin Ailey. It's Bob Fosse. There's smooth lines to your dancing, man. I don't think people understand how great how great that dance routine is, and that's why people copy those moves so much. And shout out to Olo Ray. Like if you want a picture of a beautiful black woman with a jerry curl, it's Olo Ray. Olo Ray in the poodle skirt was beautiful enough, but then you see her when they went into the 80s, and she's walking with Michael. She's one of the most beautiful black women you would ever see. The curl is just moist and lovely. She's walking seductively. Mike's dancing around her. You try to scream. Oh man! And the funny thing is, John Landis, and they look like a real couple, right? Like you could tell when she was upset because he wanted to keep on watching the movie. Like you felt like they were a real couple. And John Landis, when you watch the making of Thriller, he's like, man, you got to listen, man. She a hot chick. You got to get it. Now he didn't say it like that, but man, you got to. That's your woman. Because Mike was a shy dude, but they felt like a real couple. Like you felt the chemistry. And then later on, we found out that Ola was a playboy playmate. He's like, oh wow, really? How could I get that issue? Shout out to Ola Ray. The beautiful thing about that video is how the record company didn't want Michael to make it. There was 6 songs deep, didn't need it. Mike wanted to make it. This shows you how shrewd he was as a businessman. Like people always talk about the Beatles catalog, and and rightfully so. Michael, that was a shrewd. He took all the profits from Thriller, bought the Beatles catalog, and made tons of money. Unfortunately, they got it back. They always get it back. But the thing is, I think because Michael had that high voice and he kind of talks like this, I don't think people understood what a shrewd businessman he was. And he got this, now he wasn't just watching Jackie Wilson and Marvin Gaye and James Brown and Stevie Wonder, but he was also watching his father and Berry Gordy. Like his father was a bad parent, but he was great when it came to business and his boys. Like he had them boys in those clubs in Gary, Indiana, and then around that area, and he got them to Motown. And then when things weren't working out with Motown, he got them out of the contract, and then he went to CBS, I think. Like each and every way, Joe Jackson, regardless of how he was as a parent, as a businessman, Joe was very astute. I mean, he had a lot of street sense that helped him up against Berry Gordy, and it served him well up until Off the Wall, because he didn't think Off the Wall would be successful for Michael. So that's when things stopped for him. Michael learned from watching that from Joe, but he also learned from watching Berry Gordy. He watched Berry Gordy from a music industry standpoint. The things that his dad wasn't great at, he saw what Berry was good at, but he also how Berry handled artists, how Berry handled contracts, how Berry handled different vendors and things like that. So little Michael Jackson is learning from these two men, these two black men. So by the time we get to Thriller, and when Thriller comes out, he's 24 when Thriller comes out. So by the time we get to the making of Thriller and he's negotiating these deals, he's 25. He's 25. How were you at 24, 25 years old? Were you that astute? To cut that type of deal, say, okay, you guys don't want to make it. I'm going to cut a deal doing a making of documentary. I'm going to take those funds, sell to somebody else. Take those funds and fund my music video. But he was the same way with the Thriller album. He was so upset when Off the Wall didn't win Album of the Year. He felt like Off the Wall was shoved into the R&B categories. He felt like that was the Album of the Year, and it was. He was so upset. He said, no, I need to make the best pop album ever. So great, they're going to have to give me that award. There was an anger and a focus within Michael Jackson that people don't see. And they made an entire album after Off the Wall. He's like, this is not good enough. Screw it. Cut those songs. And that's when they made Thriller. They made another album. And I heard those tracks. They're floating online on YouTube. They're good songs. No, it's not good enough. I want to make the biggest pop album ever. And he did, at the risk of his body and his health. But man, Michael Jackson is a far greater businessman than we give him credit for. That's why, listen, Chris Brown's great. Chris Brown's selling out stadiums in Africa, but he's not Michael Jackson. Usher is great, but he's not Michael Jackson. There's only one Michael Jackson. Only one Michael Jackson. So what are your thoughts of Thriller? If you saw it as a kid when it first came out, tell me your feelings about that. And if you saw it later in life, what are your feelings about that? And if you're a dancer, what's your favorite Michael Jackson dance routine? Is it Thriller? Is it Beat It? Is it Smooth Criminal? Is it Rock My World? Rest in peace to the king of pop, Michael Jackson. You try to scream. Oh, so good.